Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone's settling into fall and it's super cozy and there's tons of food. I wanted to share my process of making a synth stand. It's more of a synth housing, but I wanted to share my process with you. I'm going to start out by cross-cutting the wood to the correct sizes for the box. I'm using these really cheap fence pickets. They were like $3 each. And I'm using my miter saw, but you can probably do this with a jigsaw or really just by hand if you're not as lazy as me. Oh yes, always use eye and ear protection when you're doing this. Great, so the wood's been cut. I'm gonna use some clamps to get a rough idea as to what the box will look like, and whoops, I need to get this back panel to fit correctly. So time to bust out my Japanese saw. They cut on the pull stroke rather than on the push, so they're way better in terms of ergonomics. I recently inherited this Bosch router, which can trim edges into various shapes depending on what bit you attach to it. Okay, so now for my favorite part, which is sanding. This part's also the most therapeutic. I'm gonna get the really rough stuff off using this palm sander, and then I'll go in by hand to smooth out the surfaces. Make sure you have a properly ventilated space. You can even sit outside to do this if you want. Okay, so now that the wood is cut to size and sanded, let's apply a finish. Before applying any kind of stain or finish, always use a pre-stain to avoid splotchiness. This stuff is gonna smooth out all of the uneven bumps from sanding, and it'll hide a lot of the imperfections in the wood. This stuff is super red. I was not expecting that when I bought it. I thought this was gonna be just a little bit more on the darker brown side of things, but it's kind of a loud color and I don't mind it. It's kind of cool. And finally, let's apply this finish. I'm using a polyurethane oil-based finish. I think they dry a lot faster and you have to do less coats, so they're a lot easier and more forgiving to use. I'm gonna let these dry for a day or two before constructing the actual box. Here is the assembled box. I ended up putting hinges on the top so you can open and close the box to get the synth in and out. So that's it. That's my entire process of taking my Mother 32 and building a brand new housing for it. So I really like the way it came out. Like I said before, the color was a little louder than I was expecting it to be, but honestly, for a violin kind of look, I'm actually pretty happy with it. I love that you can store cables and stuff inside it, and when it shuts, it's perfectly flush with Mother 32. I can't wait to build more synthesizer cases like this. Thank you so much again for being part of this process and for following me along on this journey. I'll catch you next time.